This week's message, given by Linda Diffley at the Second Sunday United Methodist Church, August 7th, 2022. The message is Our Church Family's Year of Missions, based on Genesis 12, 1-3, and Matthew 28, 16-20.
Our Old Testament reading is Genesis 12, verses 1-3. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Amen. We would remain standing for the reading of the gospel, Matthew verses 28, 16-20. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." This is the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Amen.
I've been involved with the project since year one, so I've participated for all 40 years. It's changed quite a bit. It's grown. I think the thing that I continue to be amazed by are the large number of young people who participate, who learn skills, but more so they learn about themselves, because they come thinking they don't have any skills. Oh, I can't do this, or I've never done a roof, I've never done a floor, and they find out they really can do it. A little bit of guidance, a little bit of help. We've had people who have come to the Christian Outreach Project over the years who've actually gone into building trades after participating, and that's kind of exciting to see. And then others have learned how to do things that they're adults now, they have children. We're getting to the place now where the children of those who came a long time ago are coming back, and we're in second generations, and it continues there.
Hi everyone, I'm Madienzo. This is my 6th year coming back. This has been the most amazing thing for me. I've experienced everything that I've needed to experience to become a better person and really truly find out who I am.
Hi there, so my name is Madienzo, and I have been a part of the Christian Outreach Project since 2017, it really just means the world to me. I can't imagine doing anything other than my first week of my summer vacation. I'm a teacher, so I actually look forward to the beginning of summer to be part of this week. It's very eye-opening for the children and adults to realize that we don't have to drive for days upon days or take a plane to see people that are in need. We take a 45-minute car ride, sometimes even less. We're there, so there's people just in our backyard that need help. And I'm just, I thank God to be able to be part of this. I'm healthy enough to be able to do this each year, and I'm thrilled that I've had my children be able to join me.
Hello, my name is Stephen Massaros. This is my 4th year here at the Christian Outreach Project up in Newton, New Jersey, and I just wanted to say that the Christian Outreach Project has been a great ongoing mission trip for youth and adults for the past 40 years now, as this is the 40th anniversary. And personally, I believe everybody should, at one time or another, attempt to do this service project, not only for the service, but for the camaraderie that you will make with your friends along the way.
My name is Joyce. I am from Branchville United Methodist Church. I have participated in COP. This is my 6th year, 3 as a youth, and then 3 coming back as an adult. This was my first year as a crew supervisor, and it was the greatest experience. COP is just an amazing program. I have learned so many life skills, met so many friends, and I wouldn't change it for the world because I've made the lives of others better and spread a little bit of love, a little bit of light into their life through being the hands and feet of Christ, and it just fills my heart in all of the right ways. And I hope in celebration of the 40th anniversary that I can be here for the 50th and maybe even the 60th.
Hey everyone, my name's Dan Page. I came to COP for the first time in the summer of 2010 as a youth, and I did 3 years with the program while I was in high school. I was motivated to come back because I see the impact that we make here each week, every summer, and I really wanted to be a part of paying that experience forward for the youth coming up through the ranks. Hopefully giving them a good enough experience, like the ones that I had when I was a youth, that they'll eventually want to follow the program through and join the leadership ranks too. We had a really good year this year, and if you're considering doing COP, I would absolutely recommend it at any age, at any skill level. It's a very rewarding experience.
I think the other thing that just has been such an emphasis, and we've been very intentional about this from the very beginning, is that this is intentionally a faith-based community. We have always put a strong emphasis on daily devotions, on noontime discussion around what those mean, worship each evening. We never miss on that, because if we don't know why we're doing this, if we're not connected with God through Jesus Christ, we're no different. Kids and adults who are participating, all of us, get a chance to listen to what's going on in the life of this homeowner. And many of them don't have people who want to listen to the story. And they have somebody who will just take time to know them. If that isn't love, what is? Honestly, that's what the love of Jesus Christ is about.
Good morning, and welcome to Mission Sunday 2022. I'm very happy to be here with you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Linda Diffley, and I've had the blessing to quite honestly lead a very dedicated and wonderful team of people that's part of this church's missions team. Today is dedicated to sharing our thanks to all of you, this church family, for another amazing year of support to many of our mission programs that have occurred throughout the past year. I'm hoping that you're going to be inspired by the testimonies from our church family of the programs that we are supporting and engaged in, and hopefully continue to support those programs in the new year. One of the most inspiring stories, unfortunately, has to be shared via me remotely, and I hope to do justice to it. We continue to support Roxbury Social Services with various donations throughout the year, depending on their needs, which has been led by Peggy Grow. Even during her illness and not being able to be with us physically and to attend church in person, I continue to marvel at her faith and support to the community remotely. And truly, she doesn't miss an opportunity to help. In addition to Peggy, we have Janet Fishline, Elena Case, Stacy Bignall, Kathy O'Shea, Marge Pelletier, and Dick Prush, who have also been the wonderful hands and feet that deliver donations to Roxbury Social Services, especially during the holidays. I'm hoping that by next year, Peggy's able to join us in person and share her testimony. Our longest serving mission in this church is right under your feet, meaning it's the church's thrift shop, which is in the basement of the sanctuary. In order to do justice to explaining all the great work that they've done, I'd like to invite Joyce, one of the lead volunteers, to come forward and share some of the insights on this great program.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Joyce Shaka, and as Linda said, I'm here today to speak on behalf of one of our church's great missions, the thrift shop. This mission has been in service for over 50 years and continues today under the leadership of two very dedicated ladies, Pauline Hoover and Stacy Mignot. Our volunteer work at the shop and the many donations that we receive allows us to support many areas of our community. Here are a few. The Wednesday shoppers, many of whom are repeat shoppers, purchase a variety of items at very reasonable prices. Our local social service also is a recipient of needed goods. Family Promise of Morris County often gets items that can be used to supply essentials to needy families that they house. Morristown's Market Street mission comes to pick up any items that we're not able to sell in the shop. Veterinary clinics and pet rescue groups are given blankets and towels that we can't sell in the shop to help care for the animals in their care. Winter coats go to various groups to be distributed to those in need during the winter season. But most importantly, all sale proceeds collected each day that we were open go directly to support the various needs of our church itself. In closing, this mission is both a rewarding and enjoyable experience for me and hopefully for those involved. And as you clean out your unwanted and gently used items, please think of the thrift shop. Donations are the lifeline for many. Thank you.
I want to add a few other things they did this year. There was a special shipment made when the war in Ukraine started. The thrift shop was contacted by someone who had the ability to provide the shipping as long as we could provide the items. And our thrift shop created literally a wall of boxes with clothing and bedding and other things that ended up going and getting shipped to Ukraine. One of the other benefactors, it's another mission program that we support, used to be referred to as New York City Relief. It's now City Relief. And due to COVID restrictions, in the past year, we weren't able to be there volunteering live and in person, but we were able to support them with donations of coats and blankets that came from our thrift shop. If you're not familiar with City Relief, it's a hands-on outreach program that goes to various locations on the street in Manhattan, the South Bronx, Harlem, as well as Newark and Patterson several times a week. My prayer is that we're going to be able to volunteer again in person this fall and winter and share those coats and blankets that get donated from the thrift shop. One of the mission programs where we continue to grow our work and support is CUMAC in Patterson. And for those of you not familiar with what CUMAC is, CUMAC stands for the Center for United Methodist Aid to the Community, and it's one of the largest food banks in northern New Jersey. While we've had many volunteers in the past year at CUMAC, I would like to invite Dick Prushep to share some of the work and his insights on CUMAC. Dick?
Linda has asked me to speak both on CUMAC and COP. I chose COP first. I'm not wearing a COP t-shirt, and I'm not wearing a CUMAC t-shirt because I don't have one. This is a Redbird t-shirt, but I chose it because of the saying on it, God's work, our hands. And that's exactly what all of our missions work is. We are doing work for God. I've been with COP since 2013, not as long as Steve Bechtel, but it's been a wonderful trip. I've worked on a bunch of projects, both as a supervisor and as a leader. The first year I did this was kind of terrifying before I started. I said to Joe Monahan, I said, I don't think I can do this. He says, Dick, you'll do fine. And I'm still doing it. Our first project was kind of unusual. The name of our team was Provolone in the Casket, because our homeowner was a retired mortician from Manhattan for 35 years and was now teaching at Sussex Tech. I don't know what he was teaching. But this is a very interesting book. He buried a lot of rich people, famous people, politicians, they're all listed in the book, and a lot of members of the Mothers and Fathers Italian Association, which he didn't talk too much about. Stacy was my supervisor. I was the crew leader. Stacy was the crew leader, I was the supervisor. I said, what's the difference? She says, you're in charge of the job, I'm in charge of the kids. And a third person who saved us was Dave Brown. He was our savior. And we worked on Friday till about 7 o'clock at night, long past dinner, to finish that project. Over the years, I've also worked on a trailer with another crew. We had to repair a toilet that was falling through the floor, a stairway in the front, and I think we put a rubber, we recovered the roof. A very special one was our homeowner was Patty. She was recently widowed and had a 16-year-old son with cerebral palsy and had to take care of him full time. We did some maintenance around her house, and her son had an interesting hobby of creating oil paintings with his wheelchair and feet. I bought one of them, and it's home hanging on the wall. And my last year was a cleanup with Anne, how do you pronounce her last name? Madienzo. It was a wonderful year. It was probably the best one. And that was it for working on projects. More recently, I've got a new project. I take the pastor in my Tesla, and we drive around to all the sites and visit them. I think it's a very important mission because the people working at the site see the pastor is interested in what they're doing. And he takes a lot of pictures, and this year we went with Sarah Waldron. A big part of COP is what Steve Bechtel mentioned. It's faith-based. We meditate in the morning. At noon break, we have discussion topics, and in the evening, we go to worship services. And the fantastic thing about Steve is that you suddenly realize you've been preached to. He just brings it out, and it's great. The other thing Linda wanted me to talk about is Kumak. I didn't know where to start, but I figured I'd tell you what we just did this Wednesday. But first, they've gone through quite a change in the years since I've been there. Initially, we would prepare food in bags. There'd be a table with a bunch of milk crates and things, and we'd take a bag and one soup, one meat, and some carrots and some tomatoes, that tie it up, put it in a knot in a big bin, and we'd repeat that. And then when the clients would come for food, here's your vegetables, here's your meat, and here's your soup. They didn't get to choose anything, and they got what they got. Then they opened up the marketplace, where the clients would come and we would take them through a mini little store and tell them, now you can have 2 soups of your choice based on their family size. You can have 2 meats, 2 vegetables, fresh produce over here. You're unlimited. And I got in trouble when somebody says, I don't like pork, can I have 2 hamburger things? Go ahead. You're not supposed to do that. Then COVID hit, and the marketplace came to a halt because you couldn't have people walking through the facility. And just recently, they've greatly expanded and are in the process of restarting the marketplace in a new facility, the old facility but redone. And it's coming along. That's what we did this Wednesday. We spent the first hour sorting produce. We would get pallets. You can't believe how Kumak operates. They have hand forklifts all over the place and pallets. You get pallets donated by major supermarket stores, a lot of Trader Joe stuff, and you go through it. You might be going through onions. Some of the stuff is rejected. The donors can't go through it. That's our job. The second half, we went upstairs to the marketplace, and that's great because you start working with the clients. Like Marge could relate, we don't speak Spanish. We were learning how to say eggs and milk. I made it through lychee, but I forget eggs. What's eggs? Huevos, okay. But that's what we do with Kumak. The big thing is they're expanding, and it is totally different from how it was. It's air conditioned, the walls are white instead of dingy warehouse, and it's a great environment for the clients to come. And the third thing I wasn't supposed to be talking about, I just wanted to mention Redbird. A week ago, I shared with Janet Fishline, one of my first Redbird travelers, a video that was taken by a resident of Eastern Kentucky who was driving his pickup truck up and down the hollers. That's the hollows they live in. And you couldn't believe the devastation. Homes missing, vehicles missing, all just washed down the river. And Janet reminded me, we were there one year, they had a rainstorm overnight. The next morning, we had to drive 45 minutes out of our way to get to the homes we were working on. They are hurting, and I just wanted to mention that Redbird Mission themselves says they're okay. They're on high ground, but they have a lot of work to do. And that is another of our missions that we have done. And maybe we'll be going back, Janet, now that COVID is over. That's it. Did I go too long?
So I want to just share one little announcement, in particular for those that have gone to Kumak or those that heard their executive director, Mark Dingsland, who's been here a few times. It was announced this week that Governor Murphy had started in the state of New Jersey an Office of Food Security to deal with actually the insecurities of food throughout the state. The good thing for our state and for Governor Murphy is that he's hiring Mark to lead that effort. So Mark is going to be going on and taking on the entire state. And I have no doubt he's going to make a difference. On the other hand, we're losing him at Kumac, but they've got a lot of great people that I know will keep things going until another executive director is put in place. So you got to watch earlier the amazing video. Pastor Stephen did that on vacation, but he kept telling me, I love doing this stuff, so it's okay to do it on vacation because it's fun. But I just want to thank you for that beautiful, beautiful video, as always. And I just also want to know that Pastor Stephen, Dick talked a little bit about just their travels that they do each year. And just to give you an idea, our sites are in Sussex, Warren, and parts of northwestern Morris County. Normally, the route, if you go all of them, including our base, is at least 100 miles. So it really means a lot when they come out, but Pastor always brings popsicles because it's normally hot. So the kids have started calling the pastor a popsicles because they know when he's going to bring him a popsicle. So thank you for making that effort and continuing to bring him popsicles. I don't know what they'll do if there's ever a shortage of popsicles around COP. I want to just introduce briefly a video the pastor also pulled together for 3 of the COP participants that couldn't be here this morning. So just like to share their brief messages with all of you.
Hi, my name is Lucas Maceros, and I had a lot of fun at COP this year. Even though it isn't all about fun, it is fun because you get to meet a lot of new people, and it is also very rewarding when you finish a job. My job, for example, was building our homeowner John a deck because he fell through his, and we also had to sand the other part of the deck. After we finished the deck, our homeowner John was very appreciative because of the great work that we did. It was also very fulfilling for me and my crew to know that we had finished the deck in time. Overall, COP is a very fun experience for all to enjoy. I hope I can go back next year.
My name is Danielle Doherty. This is my 4th year at COP, and I've always done it. My sister's done it, and my brother's done it, and it's just been something that we've always done as a family, and I think what has made it so easy for me to want to come back is the community. It's such a wonderful group of people, COP, and I've always loved the environment that it brings because you always have the best people helping the nicest homeowners, and it's such a wonderful and rewarding experience to be able to give back to your community. And I've just always been so grateful to have such welcoming kids, and it's such a rewarding experience just being here with people, and I think that's the most important thing about COP. We don't understand, we take for granted the people that we have with us and how in a span of like 5 days people can become best friends, and it's so wonderful to see, and I think that's one of the best things about COP.
Hi guys, I'm Grace Hollis. I came here as a youth for 4 years when I was in high school, and then decided to come back as an adult. I just graduated college, so I decided to come back this summer as a way to, I think, recenter myself in my faith. And I think it felt really good to be here, and we encountered a lot of frustrations across the week. I was a first-time crew leader, I was with a first-time supervisor, and it felt really good to lean on our faith through that process and be reminded of what that feels like. So I just feel really refreshed coming out of this week and feeling ready to take on the challenges of post-college life with my faith right here.
The icing on the cake on the testimonies is our next testimony from Danielle Page. I have a tendency to get emotional when those that have been youth come back as adults. It's growing for them, but it's growing for me. And I just can't thank Dan enough for coming from Washington, D.C. this year to participate in COP. So I hope you'll find just his testimony as inspirational as he always is to me. Dan?
Good morning. Really happy to have the opportunity to speak to you all today, so thank you, Pastor Steve and Linda. COP has been a big part of really the last 10 or so years of my summers. I started as a youth in 2010, and I've been back 3 times since as an adult leader. I did 2 years as a crew leader, and similar to many others in the video, this was my first year as a site supervisor. Linda has done a very good job elevating me through the ranks over the 6 years that I've been there. I was admittedly a little bit nervous to step up into a new role as a supervisor this year. I volunteered to be a crew leader, and Linda assured me that if I wanted to manage a site, that I'd be able to handle that. This year, selfishly, was absolutely the best one yet for me. In my 6th year in the program, there are so many things that are starting to come full circle for me, as they are for Linda as well. There are friendships that I made in high school. Joyce from the video, as an example, she and I met as seniors in high school on Kate Hanley's crew doing a roofing project, and here we are 10 years later, and we're both back as supervisors. So I love going to camp every year and getting to reconnect with those folks, ones that I've worked with before. Also being a welcoming presence to newcomers to the program, getting them excited about being at COP. And working with the youth is just so incredibly empowering. I'm really loving the opportunity that I now have to teach and mentor and empower this new generation of youth that are coming through the program. I am still learning a lot every year when I go, but there's a lot that I can pay forward and help the youth get excited about coming to camp every year. Shifting to my year in review, I just wanted to start by reflecting on our theme for the week. Part of the worship schedule is always indexed to a concept or a theme. And this year we were talking about our journey as followers of Jesus and the concept of being sojourners, people that are always on a path and have a general idea of where they're going, but maybe don't always know what their final destination is going to be. And how on that journey there are things that sometimes make sense to us, things that sometimes make us feel good and that are good news, but there are also trials and tribulations along the way and things that are very challenging for us. And as I stand here this morning and I think about the journey of my homeowner, Jerry, I am definitely still struggling to make sense of some of the circumstances that she has had to deal with over the past few years. Jerry is a single mom of 3, and I'm sure many of us have heard the saying that unfortunately bad things tend to come in threes, and that has definitely been the case for Jerry over the last 3 years. Jerry and her husband moved into a home that they knew was a fixer back in 2019, and their plan over time was to spruce it up, get it to the level that they wanted it to be at, and then live there, and that was the plan. Unfortunately, not long after moving in, Jerry's husband passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly, and that was kind of event number 1 for her. Still reeling from that loss, just a few months later, the home caught fire. And now, because of a myriad of construction issues over the last 3 years, now we're in 2022, that was in 2019, and unfortunately the home is still not livable today. So I was very sympathetic to Jerry's situation and the positive attitude that she brought to us and to the team every day on site. She was just so happy to have us there, and we were happy to be there to help her out. Jerry and her family have been working on the house as much as they can and doing as much as they know how to do. They are not construction folks, but they've done a lot. They've done most of their kitchen, they've laid flooring, they've done their bathroom, they've done windows and siding, and they're trying to figure all these things out as they go. But our goal for the week was to try to pitch in on some of the finish work throughout the house. trying to free up some time, resources, materials for them to focus on the more critical things that needed to be done, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and we're happy to do finishes. So the crew and I chipped in doing a lot of flooring work. We did about 350 square feet of new vinyl and laminate flooring. We repaired a large section of rotten subfloor. We were able to trim out and do casework around 9 windows, and then we also did a lot of miscellaneous tasks. We fixed a door. We did a deep clean of the house just to try to make as much of an impact as we could. Needless to say, our crew and Jerry were so proud of the work that we were able to get done. We accomplished much more than we promised we would, which is always a good place to be. And I was incredibly proud of the crew that I had the privilege of leading. I had a first-time crew leader. I had multiple first-time youth, but the energy and the passion that was on site every day, it was just really great to be a part of, and I was so happy to be the supervisor on that site. As you can tell, I really cannot speak highly enough of this program, its leadership, and the other congregations that we get to work with. I'm particularly grateful to this congregation and its enduring support of this program year in and year out. And I can't thank you all enough for the support that you lend to COP and us being able to send youth and adults every summer up to camp. I truly believe that if I had not had the privilege of growing up in this particular church community, I probably wouldn't have such a wonderful program playing a recurring part in my summers. If you've ever thought about participating in COP, I would just encourage you to express your interest and consider getting involved. Donating a week of your time is a very big ask, and that is recognized. And I can promise you that this is not a vacation. But you will return to work feeling energized and feeling refreshed about the impact that you've made and what you've been able to accomplish while you were at COP. If you feel like you don't have the tools, or you don't have the know-how, or you've only ever painted, or you've only ever done yard work, or you've only ever fill in the blank, that's okay. There is a need for so many different types of skill sets in this program. Construction knowledge is useful, but we can't run the program on just that. And moreover, you will learn. As I said, I'm still learning. I'm teaching now a little bit more, but I learn something new every year when I go. I will leave you with one final thought, and that is just to remember that the need in our community so close to home is tremendous. We were able to work on 7 sites this year, which is wonderful, and we made great impacts to 7 very deserving homeowners. But there were over 20 applicants for support this year. So though I'm happy with what we were able to accomplish, I do sometimes think about the folks who will be waiting until next year or the years to come. And I do think that with more numbers, more boots on the ground, more support, there is a lot more that we can and we would do. In summary, I have every intention to continue coming back. COP is really here to stay in my annual cycle of events. I love participating. I will be back, and I hope to see maybe some of you there with us at camp next year. Thank you.
Thank you. 2 weeks ago, we had a service dedicated to our new international mission, which was rice and beans. One of the things that we've learned from that mission and from that amazing journey the team took is finding new ways to try to support that program remotely during the holiday season with gift boxes for children. So this year, one of our new projects will be finding a way to take care of those to a group where we know that it's going to go a long way. So you're going to hopefully hear more about that soon. I also want to thank those of you that supported financially Pastor Stephen's missionary friend in the Ukraine. He continues to need our prayers of support. And sadly, we know there's continued crisis that develop in the United States almost weekly with the weather. And one amazing, great example this week was an effort started by one of our church family, Kelly Canzone, and her daughter, Jessica, who were actually in Tennessee on vacation during the horrific flooding in eastern Kentucky. It's an area, as Dick described, very near and dear to our hearts because it's where a lot of the families that we supported during Redbird Mission is located. Kelly and some other friends were able to do a major shopping job at Walmart one evening while they were there to donate critical items that were going to be driven up to the area of eastern Kentucky the next day. The hands and feet of Jesus were with our church family on very short notice during what was supposed to be a vacation trip. The hearts and the spirits and the love and the generosity of this church family always amazes me each and every day. Pastor Stephen asked me a question about my involvement with COP, my 16 years, and it's appropriate but it was appropriate for anything that I think we do in missions at this church. He wanted to know what I thought the fruit of COP was for all the years that I was involved. To me, it was a nice way of asking, why are you still going? Especially your no spring chicken. But you would never say that. Part of my answer to his question leads me back to our scriptures today. And it's the fact that God will lead us to places and to do things that we may not always be comfortable with, or we may not be sure of ourselves, or we may go into it with a lot of uncertainty when we're on the journey. I strongly believe there's no trip or journey with missions outreach when you feel like your work's done. In addition to participating in the week of COP, I'm a member of the COP Board of Directors along with Janet Fishline, Dave Brown, Roger, and Dave Kim from this church family. And one of my jobs on the board in preparation for the week of outreach is reviewing the work sites that have applied for requester support. Jana has joined me on this several times, Joyce, who you saw in the video. From these reviews, we determine how many we can support based on the number of participants that we know are coming to COP. And that kind of explains a little bit what Dan was talking about. We had 22 sites to review, but based on the number of participants, we knew we were only going to be able to take on 7. And that's also assuming you take on a job that you can do in a 5-day work week. The message that I hear repeatedly from the site owners is that a lot of times they feel alone, sometimes desperate, that there's no place to turn. They don't know who can help them. And they don't have the financial resources, the health, or just the physical ability to do what needs to be done. When you're able to support anyone in any type of missions outreach, you might feed someone, you might give them clothes, you might give them a blanket, you might fix their home. But what they really need to know is that they have God's love each and every day. Those that we serve need to understand we might be the messengers of help and hope and short-term relief, but when we go home, God's still with them. It's the fact that they're never really alone and trying to make them understand you're not alone. We need to continue to pray for those that we've served, but also those that we weren't able to serve, that they'll feel God's presence. The other part of my answer to Pastor Stephen's question that I'd like to close today with is that during this time in this country and in this world, there's no greater opportunity than the present for each of us to find those opportunities to help in any way possible, and especially with prayer. While there are many lives that we might have touched in the last year, there's so many more lives that we can touch and that we need to touch, showing God's grace, love, and mercy. If you don't have the ability to support outreach programs physically or financially, the reality is that your prayers of support to those in need are so valuable and critical. We all have the power to pray and make a difference in the life of others. If any of you have been sick or in a tough spot and this church has been praying for you, you know what I'm talking about. You know the power of prayers, and you know the impact this church's prayers make. This is part of our journey that God calls us on, to be the hands and feet of Jesus for those that need to know his love and grace. The knowledge of just how blessed we are to know God's love is a gift that we need to continue to share as one of his disciples in our journey. I want to thank everyone again, whether you donated to our thrift shop, whether you donated cans of food, whether you just gave a backpack recently, whether you made a financial donation, you bought candy from the men's group. All of this goes to our missions programs, and it's truly, truly appreciated. So I just can't thank you enough, and hope that you feel the love and the blessings that you so richly deserve from your support of our missions. Thank you.